In today's video, I wanted to sit down with you guys and have a conversation on things that I think that would be really cool if they were inside of Mirandus. Now, these are very speculative topics, and these are not at all guaranteed to be in the game whatsoever. These are literally just things that I've been thinking that, like, hey, it'd be cool if. But before we get too far into the video, I first want to introduce myself if you haven't met me yet. So my name's Jake, and I make speculative yet very informative content on the blockchain MMO Mirandus. And I do this by taking all the information that we've learned so far and breaking it down into small digestible videos like this one for you guys to watch. So if you're looking for consistent Mirandus content and updates, then hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. If not, then I thank you for stopping by, and I hope to see you again sometime. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Long time no see, how you been? No, seriously though, sorry it's been so long since the last time I posted. It's been like 2 weeks, and I really try to do weekly updates at least, but the past couple weeks have been pretty crazy in my life. Small life update, a little 30-second update. I'm actually switching jobs because my current business, my personal training business, is based locally, and we plan on moving within the next few months, and so I'm trying to figure out what I want to do once we leave here. So I started taking some computer programming classes, and that's been a lot of fun. And I'm actually going to show you guys. So I made this card as one of my projects for one of my classes in CSS, for those of you guys who do know how to code or do know the coding languages. And this is actually going to take me to my first topic of the day. Is I think it would be really cool if Mirandus had some sort of card game inside of taverns. So we know that Mirandus was based off of the idea of D&D in the very first place. Like, that's McCarthy talked about. That was kind of his, or one of his, inspirations for making the game. So it'd be really cool if there was a way to maybe replicate D&D, or to have some sort of card game that's just similar to that inside of taverns that you can play. And it'd be pretty cool if maybe you were out killing goblins and you got it as a random drop, or maybe for killing 100 goblins or something, but then you dropped that goblin card, or you go out and you kill some sort of really cool boss, then maybe you get that boss card and you could use that in the tavern games. Now, maybe that's too far off, maybe that's too much programming, I have no idea, but I still think that that would be a pretty cool thing to have inside the game. Like, tavern games in general are almost a must, so I'm really hoping that they do put something in there. A random blooper moment, I'm using a different mic right now because my old mic stopped working for some reason, and I recorded an entire video and it wasn't working. But I'm using this mic, and I just realized that if I turn this knob right here, it stops the video and starts a video. So I'm like, I keep accidentally stopping the video mid-record, and it's like, kinda sucks. This thing that I think that would be really cool to have inside of Mirandus would be some sort of bank. And I think that this one makes a whole lot of sense too, because you have to have some sort of place inside the game where you put NFTs into the game and also take them out of the game. And maybe the banks will be player owned, maybe they won't be, but it makes sense for them to be player owned. So that could very well be an entire building that hasn't been released yet, which means, and sanctuaries haven't been released yet, so that means that maybe there will be more buildings to be released in the near future before Mirandus comes out. So that kind of like, hey, maybe there's something else coming. And I don't know, that's just kind of fun to think about. I think that having different sized banks could definitely have different abilities for the buildings, or different benefits for having the buildings. I doubt it would be so complicated as to have like lending mechanics or anything like that, because then we're getting into, we're getting too far off topic. But I definitely think that having the place to put the NFT inside the game and take it out of the game will be really important, because you won't be able to just be out in the wild and then I'm not imagining anyway, that you'll be able to be out in the wild and just decide that you want to put your sword of whatever into your wallet and take it out of the game, versus like, you're walking around without your sword of whatever in your bag, and then you decide, hey, I'm gonna put this in my hand right now, or in my bag. So you can't really, because then that would be an unlimited inventory, and I'm pretty sure that they've said that they are definitely not going to do that. So that means that there will be a place where NFTs will be put inside the game. So again, banks just make sense. That'd be pretty cool. Kind of going off sanctuaries again for a second. So sanctuaries have been reconfirmed. They will be in the game, But something to think about is, like, where are the sanctuaries going to get their stock, like their weapons and armors? Are they going to have to work with local craftsmen to get these items, or are they just going to be in-game items that Gala provides to these sanctuaries? That's kind of an interesting thing to think about. And like, what would be the bonus to having this say free player gear versus, or maybe cheap player gear versus something that I crafted at a local shop that's low level? Like, what's going to be the incentive of buying my items versus having that sanctuary there? So then that brings up the subject of, like, how is the economy going to work? Will a sanctuary be a competitor to, say, a blacksmith, or into like an armor shop or weapon stand or something like that? Or will they not be competitive at all? Like, is the sanctuary gear pieces, are they going to be way worse than maybe the armor shop or weapon stand or something? This is actually the last thing I wanted to talk about today, but this is the most interesting thing that I wanted to talk about. So, if we're talking about armor, and I guess weapons too, I know that it's been said that there's not going to be any race-specific, or maybe even exemplar-specific armor pieces, but I think that it would be really cool if there was. Well, I know it's been said that they won't all be that way. I think that it'd be really cool and a smart idea if they did include some that were class specific, or maybe even exemplar specific. And the reason being is because how cool would it be if you had say a dwarven forged helmet that only can be worn by dwarves, and this dwarven helmet can maybe give them a bonus to their mining ability and act maybe like a smaller version of a Vox. I think that would be super cool. Or maybe if that's too OP, have some sort of other bonus. Maybe this specific elven helm gives them an extra ability that they didn't have before, an extra casting, a magical casting ability. Having an exemplar specific, or maybe a race specific gear piece would be really, really cool, and it would also make a lot of sense. Now, that would be a little bit more programming for the Mirandus team, but it wouldn't have to be like that for all the weapons. I'm just thinking, in most other games, there's some sort of rarity mechanic, right? You've got, say, common, uncommon, rare, epic, and then legendary. It would be pretty cool if in Mirandus those gear pieces are maybe the legendary gear pieces or the ancient gear pieces, where they're definitely harder to get. It's not a common thing to find a class or an exemplar specific gear piece or weapon, but have that be some sort of rare item that only gives bonus to the people that are wielding it. I think that would be super, super cool, and that would add an element to the game. I'm not talking about increasing your exemplar's worth because he owns that helmet, you can sell that helmet. I'm more talking about it increases maybe your exemplar and your time's worth, because now that you have this, people are going to pay you for your time quite a bit more. So, like, instead of actually renting your exemplar, people could rent you doing a task. Kind of like what's that word? Not a merchant, but you get what I mean. Dang it, I can't think of what I'm talking about. But having a mercenary, that's it. Hiring you as a mercenary, that would be a lot of fun. And maybe that increases your worth as a mercenary and allows you to go out and do things that are going to, get you paid more in the long run. Now, I know not everything's about getting paid in Mirandus and making money. It's ultimately a video game, and it's about having fun. But I just think that having class-specific items or race-specific items would be fun. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. So if you guys have any ideas of videos that you'd like to see, like, seriously comment them down below, because I'd really, really appreciate it. Making this video on speculation was just kind of a, man, what should I do today? But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about today. Again, sorry it's taken so long to make a video. It's been 2 weeks. I know that that's not, super duper long, but at the same time, I feel like I should at least do a weekly video. But then again, this is something I just do for fun, and changing careers is that's a pretty rigorous thing. I'm spending like 4 to 6 hours a day studying, and so it's been pretty tough to fit everything in my schedule. Like, I've had zero time for video games, and that's usually a staple in my day, 1 to 2 hours video games at least. So regardless, I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace, guys.